Surviving infidelity. Never understand how my ex-girlfriend can treat cheating as a normal thing. So, my D-Day was around 7 months ago. I, male 35, met my ex-girlfriend, female 27, in 2014, and we made it official in 2015. I found that she suddenly deactivated her Instagram account without telling me in late 2019, and I only found out when I tried to forward a post to her and I couldn't find her account. When I confronted her, she told me that she did it because she felt harassed by her work friend's friend, let's call him Carl, that has been tagging her and kept trying to hit on her. I've known about this Carl since couple months prior when we went to a social gathering on one of X's work event, prior to COVID. I told X that I will be speaking to Carl to tell him to back off. However, X stopped me saying that it's not worth it, and X didn't want to create a drama among her work friends, so I relent. Then COVID happened, and in March X told me that she'd been laid off and needed to move back to her hometown due to lack of funds, and I was not able to help her that time because I was in the middle of renovating my home. I paid her rent and bills when she first moved to my city and haven't found work. X refused to move in with me because I lived in the suburb, and her old place was in the city center. We live 50 minutes apart. So we were apart for a few months until May, when I had finished renovating and had some funds to help her pay her apartment. While we were apart, I find her to be quite distant and cold. She went out often, despite COVID, and still awake in odd hours like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. At first, I dismissed my thoughts because I thought she was depressed and stressed, but these activities continued even after she went back to our town. One day, I was hanging at her place when she was taking a bath and her phone was blasted with chats. So out of curiosity, I opened her chat to see who was chatting her, and I found a barrage of nudes from Carl being sent to her, with the text saying, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow." My body went numb, and my mind went blank. I was fuming, so I tracked back to her previous chats with Carl, and I found out that they have been exchanging nudes since 2019. I took pictures of the chats and nudes, then I told her I had emergency issues at work that I needed to attend. I work in medical field, so she knows sometimes I am needed in a certain situation. When I got back, I cried like a little baby. Part of me thinking that I should fight for her, part of me just hurt, real hurt. You see, my previous relationship also ended with me getting cheated on, so experiencing it again really sting me in the most hurtful place. In the morning, I opened my chats with her to see all our previous chats. I opened our pictures together, trying to find a reason not to throw this relationship away, until I stumbled upon our Instagram chats. I never deleted my chats with her. Lo and behold, her IG profile picture was there, but I couldn't find or open her profile. Then it clicked. She blocked me. This woman had me blocked on her IG with the guise of deactivating her IG. I made another account to stalk her IG, and yes, her IG was active, and was not put into private. I saw all her pictures, all her parties, stories, and yes, lovely picture of her kissing Carl in the mouth, which was taken not too long ago. Something snapped in me, and I was no longer feeling sad. All I felt was indifference. I took pictures of her IG and deleted everything I had about her on my phone, laptop, everything. I sent her a text, asking her to meet up. And when we meet, I just showed her the pictures I took on her phone and IG, straight told her that we are done. I don't know her anymore and I don't owe her anything, then left. I blocked her anywhere that had me connected to her. Told my parents and relatives to ignore her call. Couldn't ghost her because she knows where I live and work, so I just went no contact, and I went hard. Mutual friends trying to get me to forgive her, but I told them to stop contacting me about her or I will block them as well, so they back off after that. The reason I rant here was because last Valentine's Day, I got a text from her, switched from Android to Apple, and I only blocked her on my old phone, not on my new phone yet, where she, with all her audacity, asked for my help to pay her rent. No sorry, no trying to explain things. Didn't bother to respond, and blocked her again straight away. I just wondered how the hell did I fall in love with someone who didn't feel any remorse or guilt after cheating on me? If you're still here, thank you for reading my rant. Edit 1. I am overwhelmed and grateful for the support and comments that I received from this community. I just couldn't thank you guys and girls enough. To explain some things. 1. Our mutual friends honestly didn't know about what my ex did, because they were blocked as well. I did manage to explain to them about the reason I broke up with my ex during a Christmas Zoom call. They understood and didn't mention her anymore after that, so I am good with that. One of my closest friends told me they wanted to us make up because they saw how happy I was when I was with her, so when I told him what my ex did, he almost went ballistic at her. I told him to drop it, since I want to avoid any drama. All in all, I'm just fortunate that my ex didn't reach out to my family. They were a different story I would like to avoid. 2. Some asked about the IG. I have to admit that I suck and ignorant at social media thing. I only know how to like, follow, comment, and post on Instagram, unlike my ex who is a heavy user of Instagram. So when she said she deactivated her account, I believed her completely. 3. Some of you commented about me paying her rent and being an ATM, which I admitted was my fault since the beginning. The comment hit me hard, but it's the hard truth I needed. I tried too hard I guess, and I really want to make this relationship works that somehow, I'm blinded. I told myself that I will be her provider anyway when we get married, so it's okay for me to help her when she needed me. Well, somehow I managed to dodge the bullet unintentionally, so I guess that's a win for me. Edit 2. I woke up and find so many encouragement and questions. Frankly, I am truly grateful to this community for their massive support. I'd also like to thank you all for the awards. Hopefully happiness will find you all. Meanwhile, I will try to respond some inquiries and questions from some of you. 1. What was my ex's response and excuses when I broke up with her? I didn't stay to hear her excuses, nor I was in a position where I want to know. All I had in my mind was to end it and leave. Whatever she said will never change the fact that she had broken my trust and had an affair. No explanation will fix or change that fact. 2. How did she know my number on new phone? I retained my old number, been using it for 10 years or so, when I switched from my Xperia to my Apple SE. She texted me through regular SMS because I had her blocked on my WhatsApp, and I had forgotten to block her number on my iOS because I had deleted her number previously. Somebody asked why I changed from Android to iOS. Well, it's just because I wanted to try iPhone, I guess. 3. About her refusing to move in with me when she was laid off. I know it should have been a red flag, but at that time, I was trying not to be pushy about her moving in because I had thought that she might reacted badly should I insist. She doesn't drive and depend on me or her friends to go from one place to another, and since I am mostly working, she told me that she won't be able to go out with her friends or have anything to do if she moves in with me. I was always non-confrontational, and she was the type who hates it when someone forces her to do something she doesn't want. 4. About her trying to get me back. I don't know how to respond to this, to be honest. I don't know whether I am mentally prepared to see her again or caught off guard meeting her. This is the worst scenario that could happen to me right now. 5. I can't ghost her for obvious reason, house and work. Since I can't ghost her, I just really hope that she won't come to my house or workplace. After 7 months, I really hope she won't ever show up her face again. Again, thank you for your support and encouragement. It really made my day and reminded me that all will get better. Now for the top comments. Wow. Those mutual friends knew if it was so public on IG, and only you were blocked. Ditch all those people. Thank you for your response. Our mutuals are only 5 people. I have a very small circle of friends, so my ex had them blocked as well. My mistake was that I didn't want to explain why we broke up to my friends, and I deleted all my pictures about our IG, too hurtful to keep. The reason they want me to forgive her is that they felt that it was a shame that I ended up a 4 years relationship, and tried to be a good friend in making us become a couple again. They assumed it was only a minor misunderstanding between us. Cheating didn't bother her because she didn't see you as more than just something to be used at her convenience. This is confirmed by her asking you to help pay rent. I knew where this was headed when you said you paid her rent, but she wouldn't live with you, even temporarily. I just wondered how the hell did I fall in love with someone who didn't feel any remorse or guilt after cheating on me? It's a simple and very well-known pattern. You're a good, honest, considerate and loving person, Mr. Nice Guy, and she is a narcissist who needs constant supply of external validation, and one man, especially the nice one, is never enough. You're lucky that you discovered her cheating. And you're wise to quickly dump her. She'd ruin your life. You're capable of deep love, so move on and look for a woman worthy of you, who will love you as deeply as you'll love her. There are many such women, and dating is so easy nowadays. Take your lesson and don't get attracted to a narcissist again. Thank you. I'm taking it slow right now, and took advice from this subreddit to help me build my self-image. I am grateful to have found this subreddit few months ago. Holy cow. That's one hell of a story. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Thank you for your response. I am fortunate that I am in a better place now, and was able to move on. Though somehow my ex was able to trigger me with her text. Now for the last story. My story. A bit lengthy, but here's my story and I feel it's important. My fiancé and I were together for 6 years, lived together for over 5, and were engaged for 2. We had always had a wonderful relationship. She was the one that wanted to move in with me. She started dropping hints that she wanted to get engaged. Of course, I was ready and happy to also. After almost 4 years into our relationship, not too long after we were engaged, I discovered that she had some real clinical depression. She had always talked about how her career wasn't working out the way she'd hoped, and that it was making her depressed. One night, I came home and discovered that she cut herself on the wrist multiple times. I cried and panicked. But I cleaned her wounds, bathed and fed her, and vowed to support her and get her better. I got her into therapy the very next day and proceeded to work on almost all my off days to make money for the therapist. I thought I was doing the right thing by being there for my fiancé. During this time, she and I never had issues with one another. She continued to harm herself from time to time and eventually got on antidepressants as her therapist feared she was a self-ending risk. I continued to support her, even doing research on ways I could be there daily for a self-harming spouse. Her depression, according to her, revolved around her want for a new and better job. At the time, we were living in Georgia. She wanted to leave Georgia as she felt that she'd stand a better chance at a career elsewhere. In June of 19, I relocated us to New York. I wrote her cover letter after cover letter, passed out her resume, and networked for her as much as I could. In October of 19, she finally found a job that made her happy. I wrote the cover letter for this job and I couldn't have been happier for her. Soon after, I swiftly noticed a change in her. She became withdrawn, occupied, and distant from me. The one time I needed her to be there for me when I was down, she was only concerned with herself. After I called her out on it, she swore up and down that she didn't mean it, and that it was me and her against everything and that she'd prove it. In Jan of 2020, she began to act very odd and suspicious. We began to fight a lot. I didn't think she was cheating on me, but I knew something was off. I told her that I felt that she was changing and now realized she wanted something different in life. I told her that I felt she was outgrowing her life with me and that it was okay and that she could go. But she cried and pleaded that I was wrong. In February 2020, I told her the same. I told her that I believe she's outgrown what she thought she wanted in life with me, and that it was totally okay and that she could go. But again, she cried and pleaded to me that I was wrong, that she was here with me and that I was misinterpreting everything. In March, we once again got into a huge fight over her odd behavior. I was so anxious and depressed all the time, trying to figure out how a great relationship of 5 years was falling apart so quickly. During the fighting, we decided to take a break. I asked her if there was someone else and immediately apologized for it. She looked me in my face and asked me how I could ask her that. I remember going away to a hotel that night and I turned on myself. I was convinced that if she crying and pleading that there's nothing going on with her, then it must be me. I apologized for it, took ownership of everything, and asked for another chance to be a better man. She then took me to a couples therapy session. After the session, she told me that she wasn't sure if she wanted it to work out with me. So, I told her that I would not be here for that and I left. I told her it was over. The next day I came home to get my things for work. She wrapped me up in her arms and legs and cried inconsolably and begged me to stay. She said that she realized that she does want it to work, and that she doesn't want a life without me. She said her depression and anxiety caused her to not think clearly. She cried and pleaded for another day until I ultimately decided to stay. I never wanted to break up and I thought we were just having a rough patch. After that moment, things seemed so much better. We began to communicate better and we seemed to return to ourselves. I was so rejoiced that this few-month rough patch, at least that how I perceived it, was over. We were back to us. On MLK Day 2021, I caught her. The previous night, she kept saying that she wanted to do something special for Valentine's Day. I told her we should go away for a weekend and she was so excited. We went to bed that night and even looked at hotels. The next day, I went to work on the holiday to make extra money for this trip. She was off and said she was going to get her nails done. She then said she was going out for drinks with her girlfriends. Later that evening, she came home and readily ate the meal that I prepared for her, the one she requested. Something wasn't sitting right. I checked her phone and saw everything. She reached out and made plans with him the previous night, the same night we were planning our special Valentine's Day trip. She spoke to him using words she'd used with me for years. She even threw me under the bus to him. When I confronted her, she continued to lie and lie. She finally admitted what she'd done and said it started in March. March of 2020, the time when she convinced me I was crazy. The month that she took me to couples therapy knowing what she had already done. The way she had known what she'd done when she cried and pleaded for me to come back and stay. Her explanation was that, we were fighting so much and she went to him and developed feelings for him. If you look at the timeline of the fighting, January, February, and March, she was already down this road. So the sudden fighting was happening because of what she was doing, not the other way around. The fighting was happening because she was doing this, and when I called her out for acting weird, she convinced me I was crazy. When it was all done and over with, she basically blamed it on me and laid out a laundry list of all the ways I was terrible to her. Told me that I never trusted her even. She manipulated me, gaslighted me, and convinced me I was crazy and got me to stay all while she knew exactly what she was doing. Now for the top comments. That's painful. I always despise hearing people getting talked out of their gut instincts. Betrayal is bad enough, but causing someone to doubt themselves is evil. Far out. That is deeply manipulative. What an awful human. I guess she was so desperate to have you as the backup role. She seems like a very unstable person who is bound to come crawling back when her life falls to pieces. That is inevitable. I know this must be rough for you. But you must feel a weight off your shoulders to know that she's not anchoring you down. I hope you're doing so much better now. The classic story. Mentally put together, good-natured person finds someone they vibe with. Unbeknownst to them, this person they found has serious unresolved mental/emotional issues if not strong character defects. Tries to invest into the relationship because this good-natured person can see the good in this sad sap they found. The kindness goes to their head, not knowing how to process actual healthy and unconditional love, decides to immediately take advantage of it because why not? Not to crap on those with mental issues. But this is far too common. If not for cheating stories but for bad/traumatizing relationships. I want to be naive enough to believe that sometimes you find a fixer-upper as a certain wintery-themed Disney flick would suggest. But damn, there is no excuse for this kind of manipulation. Every time I read a post on this sub I just keep asking myself, how could you do that to someone and not feel a thing? When people with mental issues crap on others, I believe it's appropriate to crap on them. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.